So this is me rehearsing my act for the upcoming Stand Up for Mental Health comedy show, which we're going to have Friday, October 10th at 8 p.m. So here we go, rehearsing my act. At this point, you're probably expecting someone to make a hilarious introductory joke and have a great self-deprecating sense of humor. But I paid him $50 to stay home tonight. You're probably also wondering how we come up with these jokes, but it really isn't as hard as you might think. I've learned a lot from David's classes. It's all about coming up with a premise and then going in the opposite direction. It's a lot like using Apple Maps. So I'm 33. When I was younger, I used to think 33 was so old, but it's really not that bad. With the exchange rate, I'm only 29 American. I used to work at Rogers selling cell phones. Sometimes if a customer had a problem, we had to bring up their account on the computer. It was one of the only jobs where a beautiful girl would actually expect me to ask for her phone number. So folks, I have social anxiety. I get nervous at anything where I know a lot of people are going to be. Maybe I should stop attending all those riots. In the past, my mental health problems have actually led to my being fired from 2 jobs. I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. My imaginary friends couldn't figure it out either. But really, folks, if you have an employee who suddenly breaks out into a song and dance routine while helping a customer, there's nothing wrong with that. A while back, a bunch of friends had arranged to rent a room at a sports facility so we could play badminton, and my sister drove me down. But they had a problem setting up the net, so we had to do something different, something I wasn't very good at. It's called conversation. What we really ended up doing was dancing, and I got really self-conscious. I didn't know that you're not supposed to pirouette during a line dance. I really wanted to leave, but I needed my sister to drive me home, so I called my mom, and that helped calm me down. That and the bottle of Ativan I took in the parking lot. This was the trigger that made me want to investigate my mental health more. So I went to see a psychiatrist, and he adjusted my medications, and that helped, although it wasn't a perfect fix. For that, I needed to start wearing my underwear on the inside. I also have Asperger's syndrome, so I'm very easily distracted. Certain sounds annoy me really easily. I just have to keep telling myself that all those gunshots I hear outside are normal. I often have kids running around and yelling in the hallway of my building. I never should have given them all that Red Bull. I told this to my psychiatrist, and he was very concerned because I live in a duplex. Health professionals often ask me about my diet. I always tell them that I eat pretty much normal. I try to eat from the 4 food groups: fruit and vegetables, meat, dairy, and Pepsi. But I'm cutting back. I'm now down to 3 liters a day. I also have chronic back pain, and I was diagnosed with scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine. Either that or my bottom 4 vertebrae are made out of styrofoam. Really got in the way of that pirouette. Sleep is my other big problem. 8 hours of sleep only feels like 3 or 4. I have a feeling I think more when I'm asleep than when I'm awake. It's really profound stuff too. I'm probably going, I read that a crayon can burn for 30 minutes in an emergency. But what I want to know is, how does the crayon know when there is an emergency? How fast is the speed of dark? They say Superman is faster than a speeding bullet, but does that mean bullets have speed limits? Maybe I should also stop drinking those 5 cups of coffee before bed. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea early this year, so I had to get a CPAP machine, which helps me get enough oxygen when I'm asleep. But since I'm so easily distracted, the sounds from the machine made it hard to get to sleep. So I decided to try adding some white noise. But the Metallica CD didn't really work. It seemed like something was missing, and I finally realized what it was. The next night, I actually played the CD. Still didn't work. Someone suggested I try a fan, but I didn't understand how I was supposed to fall asleep while doing this. I guess they meant the electric kind. Turns out that actually works pretty well. One of my favorite things to do is read comics. Unfortunately, David isn't wearing anything with writing on it tonight. But I really do love to read comics. For some reason, though, the staff at Chow's Varieties hates it when I bring in a chair and a coffee. I probably shouldn't read them sitting in the middle of Franklin Avenue either. All that honking gets on my nerves. But I solved that problem. I just put in my earplugs and keep reading. You know, one of the hardest things about having mental health problems is that so many people don't understand them, or don't really know how to deal with people who have them. It's not the same as, say, being confined to a wheelchair where everyone can see that you have a disability. But mental health problems are often invisible, and that's one thing I hope this Stand Up for Mental Health program can raise awareness of. The most important thing is patience. Mental health problems are just another form of health problems. Just use the same courtesy, respect, and patience that you would for someone with physical health problems.